Over the past few weeks I have made some announcements that I wanted to make a video where I want to look at your images, the people watching my channel. And first of all, I want to thank all of you who has watched this channel in the past, who has subscribed, for all your support over the past 1.5 years. Because at the moment that I'm making this video, I have just passed 1,500 subscribers. And yeah, lately it's going really fast upwards, so I'm really happy with that. And this video is actually the 100th video that I'm making on this channel. You know, it says here 114, but that's including a couple of shorts and a little announcement video from 1 minute. But the normal videos, this is the 100 one. And yeah, I never expected when I started that I would make 100 videos in less than 1.5 years. So really happy with that. So let's quickly dive into this video, and yeah, I'm gonna look at your images. Yeah, you've massively sent me images, and I even had to make a selection of them. Yeah, some people sent me more than 20 images, some people more than 30. Yeah, I couldn't do them all. So I've selected a couple ones from everyone, and we're gonna run through them. And yeah, I'm gonna try and see if I can give you some positive feedback, maybe some little adjustments that you can look at for the future. So let's quickly get into the first image. So I'm going to run through these images pretty quickly to keep the video not too long to watch. So yeah, hopefully I can do every image a little bit of justice to its own. But yeah, let's go to the first image. This is an image from Joe from Sweden. He lives in the yeah, southern part of Sweden. Yeah, the first thing that I realized that I looked at is this tree on the right side here. Yeah, it doesn't do anything to me. So clone it out, or maybe next time just zoom it in a little bit. But for me, I don't know what the situation was on location here, but if you could do 2 steps to the right, then this whole gap behind this yellow tree would maybe disappear, and this tree would be in front of these beautiful orange colored trees. So I don't know if it's possible. It's just an idea to keep in mind for the next time. But just for this edit, I would say you have to boost these colors of this yellow tree here in the foreground. If you boost it, it will really come out of this background. It will come to life. Maybe if you crop it just a little bit on the bottom, there's a little bit of dark bush here that has no function to this image. Try to crop out this tree on the right side. And you can see here the before and the after. So it's not much, but it's just a little bit that you enhance these colors, and it just looks a little bit better. But especially those borders, just keep everything that's not interesting for the picture out of the image. The second one, this is also from Joe, also from the south of Sweden. Yeah, really nice snowy conditions. I love the snow on the side of these trees here. So it's a really good composition with this road leading into the background. The only thing that I would do on this image, you can see this tree here on the right, it's a little bit cut off, and I would go get rid of this whole tree on that side. And also get rid of the part here in the sky on the top here, where you can see those white bits coming through it, because your eye gets pulled towards that. But if you crop this image back to 3:2 and then leave that off, I think it does more justice to the composition. And you can even light it up a little bit, because it is snow, and snow is always a little bit bright, so it's no problem. It's not overexposed or anything, but you can just light the image up a little bit. So this is another image from Joe from Sweden, and it's on a different national park. And I'm always looking for these things when I'm struggling a little bit, just looking up to the canopy, looking for little holes in the canopy. And I just really like this, and it's a shame that these trees are, maybe you could have used them in the center, that you could look up into this image from this gap and then this hole around it. But I think you can also lighten up these trees in the foreground. You know, this is a JPEG, so it's a little bit difficult, but you can enhance the shadows just a little bit, it's no problem. And I think it's a little bit better, but I just love shots like this looking upwards. So a really good image. This is another image also from Sweden. The first thing that I noticed is that this first pole here is a little bit off. And I think you should correct that, because that is your main focal point. So just try to keep that one straight, and what's happening behind it, it's not really a problem. And I think this image actually would suit really well as a 1:1 crop, just to leave out this bush here in the foreground, and you're immediately getting pulled into these poles in the background. And I think it's a little bit too blue, so you can use a little bit more whites in this image, and again just lift it up so these snowy conditions also become really snowy. I think that's better. Snow belongs to be white and not blue or yellow or anything, so always try to look for that. So all in all, I think a nice image with these poles leading your eye into the background. So this is an image from Christian. Yeah, he's a long time watcher of this channel, and I chat with him regular. He lives here in the Netherlands in one of the northern provinces, and yeah, I really like this image. I like how this gap of clouds points towards this lighthouse in a triangle shape. The only thing that I would change, I think I would crop it back to a 16:9 to get rid of these sandy parts here in the bottom, because they don't add to the image for me. And if you make it a 16:9, you can put the lighthouse exactly on this cross section, which makes better for a compositional point of view. And I will get rid of this little bit here on the side, so maybe crop it in just a little bit, so that's you get rid of that. So now it's just about this beautiful cloud formation and this lighthouse, and maybe you can enhance these clouds a little bit with a little bit more contrast and make them a little bit more dramatic. But all in all, a really nice image. This is an image from Daniel. He lives in Belgium, and I actually really like this image. It's a little bit of a painty style. I think I wouldn't change much about this image, you know. I just really like it. Maybe use a little bit more clarity. You can see that this haze gets reduced a little bit, but this is a style thing, you know. You like it or you don't like it. So there's no good or bad here in a style of an image. Personally, I never liked the 3:2 vertical crop, so I always try to do a 4:5. I don't know why, but a 3:2 is just, in my opinion, when you look at it in a portrait size, it's just a little bit too narrow on the sides. And if you do a 4:5, it always looks a little bit clearer. And in this case, this first ridge here, it doesn't really add to the image. Your attention gets pulled over to that side. But if you do a 4:5, you get rid of that and only leave this beautiful mountain here. But I really like this image. And he also sent another one, which is this image, and I already talked to him about this one. I think what would have worked better, because I love the edit of this image, it's really nice colors, and I like these light patches in the image. It's just really good. The only thing that's a little bit off is because these sheeps, they are on the side of the image. And yeah, he told me that he wanted to balance the mountain. I get that, but I think because they are standing so close to the edge down here, it's a little bit off balance, you know. If these sheep would have been a little bit more into the field, maybe stepping to the left a little bit, or zooming out a little bit, would have helped them massively. But it just needs a little bit more space on the bottom left here. But all in all, a really nice image. So this is an image from Bartek from Poland. I think I wouldn't change anything of this image. This is just a really nice, moody, atmospheric image, which I really like. It looks a little bit messy here, but it's just, I don't know, I like it. You know, all these spider webs, all these little parts. Yeah, I think a really nice image. Wouldn't do a thing about it. Could have shot it myself. So this image is from Ernesto. He lives in Bavaria. It's the southern eastern point of Germany, and really nice fella. And he sent me a couple of images, including this one. And I love look-throughs like this. But I think it's shot in the middle of the day. I think if you come back here at sunrise, sunset, get a little bit more colors, a little bit more of shadow working, it would be a beautiful location. And maybe, let's have a look. I want to say maybe crop it back to a 3x2 or a 1x1. 1x1 doesn't really work. But maybe crop it back to a 3x2 does. It's just leaving a little bit of this space on the right side out of the image. So this is another one from Christian in the Netherlands. Yeah, what I immediately noticed to this image is there's no one viewpoint. So you have two lines going in two separate directions. So you have this line leading to this beautiful lit up tree here on the top, and this part has a beautiful light to it. And then there's this path in the bottom here running out of the frame. So I don't really know where to look. And I can imagine if you only have one lens with you that you shoot it like this. But maybe in an occasion like this, just try and use a telephoto and crop it back, zoom it into maybe something like this. You can see there's much more of a clear line into this image, and you can darken the sky just a little bit to make it a little bit of a yeah, how do you say it? A little bit of a moody image. So I just really like it. I think you should have used a zoom lens here and zoomed into the most beautiful part of the image and leave out the part that's not that interesting. So this is another one from Ernesto, and I just really love this one. And I think the color green is always one of the most difficult colors to photograph, and he really got that really well here. You know, it's really soft colors of green, a little bit of blue here, and I love this, how this attention is pulled through this gap over here. And you can say that it's a little bit off, I think. Maybe if you straighten the horizon a little bit, it works a little bit better. And maybe crop away a little bit on the right side. But I wouldn't do much more on this image. I just, yeah, I like this kind of look-throughs. But you could consider, if you have a bit of a boring sky like this, try cropping it to a 16:9 or shooting it like a 16:9 and just focusing on a part like this. But it gets a little bit too green, you know, that you have to have a point of attention here in the center, like a duck or a geese or anything. In that situation, I would have shot it like this, or otherwise I would have done exactly the same as you did, I think. So this is an image from my friend Stijn, and he sometimes comes with me on trips. He lives here pretty close by. And we actually shot this image together. We were there both at the same time. And the only thing that I would do here is lighten up this foreground just a little bit, so this fog gets enhanced. You know, it's sunlight hitting the fog over there, so it's allowed to be a little bit brighter than the rest of this image. Yeah, for the rest, yeah, I just like this composition. And the funny thing is, I have this image that I shot on location there, and I never was happy with this image. So this is my own image, and I was never happy with it. And I tried editing it a couple of times, and at one point I just gave up on it. And he sent me this image, which is actually almost the same moment, but he just made it a really, really soft image, and I just really like that. And I don't know why I didn't see it in my edit, because I just really went for this hard contrasts, but I just love the soft contrast here. It just works way better, and you can also see it in the sun. His sun is a little bit better than mine. It's split here in two. I don't even know how that happened, but yeah, I think this is a much moodier image than the one that I made myself. So you see, I can learn from these things myself, but the only thing I would do on this is crop it back a little bit to a 4x5, maybe, to get the focus on these trees and not on this really dark foreground here. But for the rest, a really nice image. Another one from Stijn, and yeah, I get what he was trying to do here. He was trying to focus on these rocks here with the water flowing by, but I think there's just too much going on. This rock on the right side here, it's a little bit distracting, and there's just a little too much of white space here in the bottom. I think these rocks should have been a little bit more centered here, then the composition would have worked better. But yeah, the smooth and silky water, he really captured that there nicely with this long exposure. So yeah, I think a really nice image, but just on the composition, I think there's a little bit more possible on location. Just try to frame these in the middle of the frame and try to get rid of these dark spaces on the right, because they are a bit distracting here. Yeah, this image also from Steiny. I know we shot it in Switzerland, and yeah, I think it's just an amazing image. You know, do nothing more about it. I love how this mountain has just a little bit of contrast in it, that you can see those details, and then those stripes of the stars. Yeah, I really like that. I know some people just like to only see the pinpoints of the stars, but I love these star trails. I'm a sucker for these kind of images. So yeah, really nice. Maybe he could brighten it up a little bit more. You can see if you brighten it, then a little bit more of these stripes become visible in the image. And this rock also gets a little bit more visible. So that's probably the only thing that I would do about it. And yeah, you should be proud of this image. So this is another image from Ernest from the south of Germany. And the first thing that I notice on an image like this is this left side here has no add to the image. And I think this is the main focal point here, this tree with all these bird nests in it. And I think you should try to zoom in a little bit to make this your main focal point and get rid of this boring left side that really doesn't really add much to the image. But I do like this really foggy, moody atmosphere here. So maybe try something like this, where you have the shoreline disappearing into the fog in the background and this tree in the center. You know, I think it's better in the center than on the right side when your interest is being pulled to the right. You know, the human eye naturally gets pulled to the most lightened part of an image. And in this case, I think it was that boring left side. But the most interesting thing here is this piece of land disappearing in the background. So, or maybe even try a 1x1 crop. I don't know if that one works. Let's have a look. I think you could come away with that. If you do a 1x1, it's often much easier to put a subject right in the middle of your image. And I think now it's all about this tree over here. And maybe you can add just a little bit to this foreground here and make this fog a little bit more clear. You know, you can't do it in a JPEG, but in a RAW file you can enhance this fog just a little bit. But I love this moody image, really nice one. And actually this is another example from Ernesto, and I'm actually going to do exactly the same on this image, because this side here on the left is a little bit distracting. This bend turning away, leading into the background, but it doesn't really add to the image. So what you want to show in the image is this tree over here in the center. And just try and focus on this part here, because I love this tree, I love these roots here. And just try and frame it up like this. And if you would have stepped to the right, maybe a meter, you know, I don't know what the situation was on location, but you could have put these branches here just a little bit more in front of this tree in the background. So you could have moved it a little bit to that side, and it would have looked a little bit more aesthetic here. But I just love the shape of how this tree goes in a 1x1 frame. And you could also play a little bit with those background colors of the tree behind it. If you pull it a little bit to the green yellow side, you see that this tree gets separated from its background a little bit, and it just becomes a little bit more clear in the image. So I think as a 1x1 this image works way better. This is actually a funny story, because about 5 or 6 months ago I made a video when I got 1,000 subscribers, and the funny thing is that it took me 14 months to get 1,000 subscribers, and in the last 4 months I have gained more than 550 subscribers. So it's really going fast at the moment. But just after I finished that video, I've got an email from Macy from I think it's Poland, and he sent me 2 images that he would, they would have liked in this video. So I said to him, I will keep these files, and if I ever do something similar, I will do it again and have a look at it. So I didn't edit all the other files. Those are the files that you edited, but I had a look at this one. So this is the file that Macy edited. It's finished JPEG. And the first thing I noticed is that this foreground here was a little bit boring. There are no shadows in this image, so I don't know if it's taken in the middle of the day where the sun was right above, or maybe before sunrise or after sunset when there was no shadow play in this forest. But there is a nice tree here in the back. So all this image needed was a little bit of light in it, but it's just not there. You know, you can make an image if the light isn't there, but I just tried to do something with it, and I thought this is a little bit too saturated. So I got to his raw file and I made it a 3x2, so this path is much more clearer running to this tree in the background. And I think the composition is nice, but just get there when there is some shadow play in the forest, when the sun is at the right position to create some light and shadow parts. It will really help this image a lot. But I like the lane, and especially how this tree in the back just is completely different from all the straight trees in the rest of the image. This is another one from Macy that he sent. This is an HDR image, so it's 3 images combined to one to reduce those highlights in the background. There's the light in this image because there are some shadows in this image. If you just pull it up and down a little bit, you can even see it in the finished JPEG, because this is his finished JPEG that he sent me. But there are some beautiful light patterns here in the foreground. You know, I've stacked these 3 images together that he sent me, and I actually came up with this cropped version, and you can see that this light, it's just in this image, and somehow in the edit that he made, it's almost disappeared, or I don't know what happened. Maybe he used only one image, but this tree on the left side for me was blocking the light coming into the image, and it should all be about this tree right over here and the path running towards it. So I didn't actually do that much. I just reduced the highlights, shadows up a bit, whites up a bit, the blacks a little bit down, a little bit more clarity and texture into this image. And then I cropped it to a 16:9 to get rid of that tree that you've just seen on the left. And I think, yeah, it's a beautiful light up tree, and now your eye gets pulled towards the main focal point in this image. And I just really like this composition actually. So yeah, love this image, and I hope you liked the edit that I made of your image. I forgot one here. This one from Stijn here in the Netherlands. I get the idea. I love this look through with this yellow birch tree here. The only thing that I would have done is, if I had a tripod with me, I would make a focus stack. So one focused on the tree, one focused on this birch tree in front, stack them together and make it a shot that's way sharp in front and in the back. And in this case, this tree here, this upper part is a little bit to the left of this tree. So if you do this, try and make it as static as possible, and just put this a little bit to the right here, and it would have looked a little bit better. And then just try to also make this shape look the same on the left and the right. You know, if you do it like this, I think it would have been a little bit better. So next time, focus stack and try putting everything in the center, balancing out the shot a little bit better. Yeah, this shot is sent to me by Joe. He lives in Sweden, but it's a shot on La Palma, one of the Spanish Canary Islands. And I actually wouldn't do much about this image. I love this drone shot. There's lots of detail in this sand here, and I would love to go to a location. Oh, sorry. I would love to go to a location like this and just make use of all these patterns here in the sand. Just look at this here in the foreground, and these colors here of this sand, it's just amazing. You know, there's so much to do here. You know, he made a beautiful capture of this volcano, but if you would have had a zoom lens here, just look, if you zoom in like this, it's a completely different picture, but it's just beautiful with those lines and colors here. Yeah, I love images like this with all these kinds of colors, but I actually wouldn't do change anything about it. I just like this image. And it's the same for this one. It's from Bartek from Poland, and I just love how he got the mood and atmosphere of this forest. And somehow it's a bit of a messy shot with those broken trees here in the front, but what really works is that this tree here on the bottom leads your eye to this island on the left, and then back through the other broken tree to the main focal point here on the right side. And why is that? Because the human eye gets pulled to the brightest part of an image. So these leading lines all lead towards the brightest part of the image, and he just really did that really well. And yeah, I think you should be really proud of this image, because I really like it myself. This is also an image from Bartek, and I actually selected it from his Instagram. He said, if you see one image that you would like to add in this video, just let me know which one. And I selected this one because why I did that, I love the potential of this image, but there would have been a lot more possible here. You know, you can see here on top that there is some beautiful light coming through, but you can't see it in the image. And I think if you would have zoomed out a little bit, or maybe used it as a portrait shot and added a little bit more sky here, a little bit of those dramatic clouds, because you can see here that there are some clouds and there are some colors in it, I think it would have been much better, a little bit more balanced. It feels a little bit cut off now, and I asked him, can you send me the raw file, because there is the water down here, it just is at the point of overexposing, I think. So I tried reducing that a little bit and enhancing these colors, and I didn't do anything much to it. But there's so much more possible with an image like this, and I just love it. And all these layers, amazing. This S-curved river through it. The only thing, I would have chosen to put a little bit more sky in this image, because I think that sky was worth it. You know, I wasn't on location there, but looking at it right now, I think that's possible. And also I noticed this little tower here, and if you would have had a zoom lens, I think it would have been a nice shot to do something with this. Let's have a look. If I zoom it to, like, say 66%, to make a shot like this with this lighthouse or church or whatever it is, it would have also been a nice shot. So there are multiple possibilities here in a shot like this. You can even crop out these mountains in the back. You see, then you get rid of this sky. I think it would have worked, but I would have chosen to zoom it out a little bit and include that beautiful sky, because I think, judging those colors and those dark clouds over here, that was a really nice sky. You can also see it down here in the water, but composition-wise, beautifully done with this S-curve and those layers in the background. So this is an image from Keith. He's also another fellow YouTuber, and we've been watching each other's videos for quite some time now. And he's just a really funny fella from Hong Kong. He's originally from the Philippines, but now lives in Hong Kong. I'll put a link to his channel down here. And yeah, I just love this image. You know, I can't say anything about it. The only thing that I'm wondering for myself, and please let me know, Keith, if you're watching this, what's this in the background? You know, I'm just looking at how did this light up here? Is that some kind of algae, or did you light it up yourself? Because somehow there's a beautiful sky here with beautiful stars, and this person here, I guess it's you, because I know you make a lot of these selfie shots. It's just two focal points, but somehow my eye gets pulled to these parts on the left and the right, because it's the brightest part of the image. So I would try to reduce that just a little bit. That's the only thing I can say about this image, and for the rest, it's beautifully done. Next image, also from Keith. Yeah, a beautiful composition. I can't say anything about it. The only thing that I was noticing is that there is a bit of a dark space here on the bottom that I possibly would have cropped out myself, and there's a really bright part over here that, like I said, the eye goes to the brightest part of the image, so somehow you always look to this image. So you follow this leading line here, you follow the tree, and then you end up here and not at this waterfall. So I would just slightly, maybe make it a 4x5. I'm not a big fan of portrait 3x2 shots or 2x3 shots. Maybe crop that out just a little bit and get rid of this foreground and just make it like this. I think now your focus gets pulled towards the waterfall and not to that tiny gap on top there. But otherwise, beautiful composition. This last shot from Keith, he's made a video about this. This volcano erupted just after he left, so he got out of there just in time. But you can also already see the smoke coming out of the top here. So yeah, really nice image. The only thing that I was wondering is this right side here. There's not much going on back here, and the image feels a little bit oversaturated. So I think I would pull the saturation down a little bit, just a tiny bit, because it looks a little bit too much HDR for my opinion. But this is just a matter of taste, you know. And I would have liked to see an image where this volcano was on the right side. You know, if you get rid of this left side here, let's go back to what I just did. Let's have a look. As shot, you see this right side doesn't really add to the image, and I know why you did it, because this sky is beautiful. But if you reduce it and put this volcano on the third, you still have this beautiful sky here, but this leading line leads towards the volcano on the right, so I think it just works a little bit better. But all in all, it's just a stunning moment that you caught, and I'm just gonna look at if you can do something with this sky here, you know, make it, maybe put a little bit clarity in it to make those clouds pop out a little bit. Something like this, reducing those highlights a little bit, making those darkest parts a little bit darker to put a little bit more drama in the sky. And I think this is just a fabulous image, and you know, it's just a matter of taste if you like the original one with the volcano in the center or on the right. But I think this leading line here from the left bottom towards the volcano works better when the volcano is positioned on the right side of the image, but it's just a personal opinion. So this is another image from my friend Stijn, and I was actually here with him on this morning, and I have to congratulate him because I just never saw these light rays in this tree, and I think he caught them pretty well. Let's have a look here. Maybe in composition, you know, there's nothing with which those light rays are going to, you know, I sometimes say I'm shooting light rays for the sake of shooting light rays, but in this case it's about this tree with the light rays. But yeah, I just love the yeah, how do you say that, the atmosphere in this image. I think he caught that pretty well. Maybe add a little bit of clarity here to enhance those light rays a little bit. But all in all, I think a stunning picture, and yeah, I didn't see it for myself at that moment, so fabulous job here. This one, I would say that this sky here and on the bottom here, it doesn't really add to the image. So in this case, I would have zoomed in a little bit further, or if you can't zoom in further, just crop it out. You know, make this tree the most interesting point of this image. Do it like this, or maybe clone out this dark part here. But with it just doesn't feel in balance with the with all those lightened parts here. You know, once again, the eye gets pulled to the lightest part of the image. In this case, it's the sky. There's nothing going on there. Just try and leave it out of the image. If there's not enough room here, just look around. Maybe there's a little bit of a hill that you can stand on, and then zoom in more to the bottom, so that the space on top gets a little bit bigger. And I was there when this image was shot, and I know that you could have walked a little bit to the back and just put this shoot this image a little bit down. But the atmosphere here, it's amazingly caught. So yeah, phenomenal image. So this is an image from Tristan, and I really love this image. You know, this moody, gnarly tree here in the center of this foggy forest. Yeah, I just really love it. The only thing that I immediately noticed was this tree here on the right side that's on, yeah, one part of the image that I think is a little bit outbalancing it, because you have one tree here and one tree here in the back. So I would choose to get rid of this tree and just make sure that the one on the right side here is almost at the same point as the other one here. Maybe something like this. And I think it works just better, but I love those colors, the color contrast, the shapes. Yeah, I really like this image, but this one tree on the side, it's really blocking it. So I would try to keep that out of the frame. But for the other, all the other things, a stunning image here. Yeah, this one from Frederick. I don't actually know if it's Frederick or Sudan. I don't know what its first name or what the surname is, to be honest. But yeah, I love this this mushroom. You know, it's not a landscape shot, but still, I thought it was worth showing in this video. Yeah, I don't know how you lighten up these mushrooms here if you put a little bit of a flashlight underneath it. I experimented with that technique also. But I love the composition of this image, and yeah, I think a really nice mushroom shot that you should be really proud of. You know, in this case, another mushroom shot from Frederick Sudan, and I was just wondering, this mushroom on the back here, it's also a little bit lit up on the bottom, but I think it's positioned a little bit too far to the left of the frame. In my opinion, maybe it should even have worked better if you just focused on those leaves here hanging over this central mushroom and leave out the one in the back. I think this would have been a much better image. Or this mushroom should have been a little bit more to the, oh, let's get back here. If this mushroom would have been like right here, it would have been more aesthetic and more balanced. But in this case, I would go for a crop without the one in the back there, because my focus gets to that thing and thinking, what's that in the back there? And you want your focus to be on this beautiful mushroom in the front here. But just the edit and how you lightened up these mushrooms, I just really like it. Yeah, he also sent this one. Yeah, it's no landscape or macro shot that I normally take, but I just love these elephants. I can see why he took this image. You know, composition-wise, a really intimate shot of 3 elephants, and you really have to look for a minute to see, oh, what's going on here, and then you notice that it's these 3 elephants leaning towards each other. So yeah, I think a really nice shot, and if you print this and hang it in your living room, I think you can easily sell it in a store, because it's just a really nice composition. So then the last 3 shots, they really got in last minute. I got them yesterday evening. This is from Steve. He lives in, I think it was Tennessee in the United States. Yeah, look at this light here. You know, it's just amazing how this light gets into the sky. Only thing that I have to say about this, maybe you should crop this back a little bit to, for example, yeah, not a 1x1. Oh, this is going the wrong direction. Sorry about that. Let's have a look. Make it a 3x2, but just focus on this bottom section here. Now let this light go in, because this right side that I just got rid of, it just doesn't really add to the image. You know, this whole blue side is just a bunch of blue, but you want your focus to be on those clouds and on this light. So I think if you reduce this a little bit like this, then it's just a much better composition, in my opinion. But yeah, who am I? So this shot I'm actually pretty jealous about. All these hills going into the back. It's also from Steve from Tennessee, and I just love it. I would love to shoot a scene like this once, and I just didn't get this purple line on the top here, and he just sent me an email that it had something to do with the weather, and it was almost accurate. But I don't know if it adds to the image. It just looks a little bit strange. The color contrast, I don't know, but I don't know if this purple is better in this image. I don't know how to explain it, but maybe if you reduce it just a little bit, I think the image gets better from it. But yeah, that's just a matter of taste. You know, if it really was like this and you want that captured, of course leave it like that. But I would try to get rid of it myself to get a little bit more balanced image. But I love the way those hills with all this fog. Hopefully I will shoot something like that someday. Yeah, this image also from Steve. It's the last image of this video from Tennessee. Beautiful sky image, but this tree here on the right is getting all of my attention. So I would personally get rid of this tree here on the right side because I don't think it adds to this image in any way. So if you would have shot it a little bit like this, keeping the sun a little bit to the right, you will still have those people, you will still have those interests, but you won't have this distracting tree on the right side of the image. So those were the images that I looked at for you, and I hope you got some ideas or some tips from them. Of course, this is all subjective to my opinion, you know, who am I? And it's actually really difficult to show you what some what some changes do to an image, because they are all finished JPEGs. If you have the raw files, you can do much more with them. You can pull much more out of these images with a raw file. And yeah, I'm actually really surprised, and I've seen some really good images here, some images that can do just a little bit better. But I think the most important thing is to always imagine, what do you want your viewer to see? What do you want to be the main focal point of an image? And I just try to get rid of all the distracting things in these images and let the viewer see what I want them to see. And I know it looks great, all the things around it, but you want the viewer to see the thing that you find most interesting. And I think that's the thing I saw most in these images, that there are too much distractions in these images. So that's something that's really easy to solve. Just spend a little bit more time finding your composition or cropping it back a little bit. You know, most of these images have more than enough megapixels to them that you can crop them back and still print them on a large format print. So don't worry about that anytime. So I hope you liked this video, and I hope you liked the 100 videos before this one. So yeah, really happy to get to this milestone here. And I hope to be making a video like this in about a year from now, when I finished my second 100 videos. So yeah, really looking forward to that. And yeah, I really enjoyed looking at all your images, and just leave a comment or send me a mail or contact me. I really like to engage with everyone watching these videos, and yeah, knowing where you live and what kind of photography you do. As long as I can manage to do it, I will try to keep posting comments and answering to all your emails. But right now, yeah, the channel is growing, but I'm still managing to keep in touch with everyone. So as long as I can get myself together doing it, I will definitely do it. So thanks for watching. I hope you liked this video. Make sure to watch this Sunday, because there is another epic morning with some foggy conditions coming from the Netherlands, and yeah, some amazing images in that video. So thanks for watching. Hope to see you this Sunday. And please let me know what you think of these images and of this video, of your own images, and if you've learned anything from it, or if there's something that you're going to use from watching it. So thanks for watching. Bye bye.